happiest greetings and wishes to all on India's 68th Republic Day. We are here today, gathered here to celebrate India's 68th Republic Day and at the same time pay tribute to our father of the nation, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, famously called as Bapu or Mahatma Gandhi. Although we know that our first Republic Day was on 26th of January 1950, however, since 1930, India has been celebrating 26th January as an auspicious day, which was nearly 20 years even before the actual Republic Day started to be taken into consideration. 26th January 1930 marked the first fake Independence Day, which the country used to observe when the Congress had asked the British to comply on certain requirements, which if not followed, would be declared as the Independence Day of the country. However, in 1947, the fake Independence Day was replaced by actual Independence Day. So to start with, I would request all the EXCOM of all the three chapters to be on the stage and request all the past chairmen of all the three chapters to be on the stage, please. First time all the three chapters have joined together to do the event of this size. I would now like to request our Vice Chairman of ICA Dubai chapter, CA Naveen Sharma, to open the event and take us to today's program.
Ladies and gentlemen, Happy Independence Day. Today is a historic day for chartered accountants living in the UAE. And this is the first time ever in the history of the UAE, a joint event is being organized between ICA Abu Dhabi, ICA Ras Al Khaimah, and ICA Dubai chapter. Give a big round of applause to all the three chapters. All the three chapters of the UAE is coming together for this event, which is being held to celebrate Indian Republic Day and the recent visit to India by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi and Deputy Commander of the Armed Forces. Moreover, we will be learning today the life-changing lessons of the topic management lessons from the life of Mahatma Gandhi, father of our nation. We are fortunate to have with us Mr. Ahmed Khalid Al-Sayah. Give a big round of applause to him. Thank you, sir, for attending our event. We are also fortunate to have, we are once again honored to have amongst us His Excellency Saud Salim Al-Muzri, Director of Family Affairs Zone and Safe Zone, Sharjah. Thank you, sir, for accepting our invitation to grace this special occasion. Please give a big round of applause to His Excellency. We are also fortunate to have with us Padam Vibhushan Madam Rajshri Birla, Chairperson of Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development, who has come all the way from India, especially to address all of us. Thank you, Madam, for accepting our invitation as the keynote speaker. We have a very special NRI with us today. He has made us proud from his action and good deeds. His name is everywhere in the UAE, be it newspapers, online, WhatsApp group, even in the small chat within the friends. Today it is our chance to have us amongst us in spite of his busy schedule, as he has a flight to catch in few hours. Any guesses? Yes, you all are right. Shri Vashu Sharaf. As you all know, he has been conferred with the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award 2017 earlier this month. He needs no introduction. However, I would like to mention that he is the trustee and previous chairman of the Indian High School and current chairman of India Club Dubai. And not many people know that he is the first honorary teacher of the Indian High School. We are proud of you, sir. I, on behalf of all the 3 chapters of ICI and also on my personal behalf, welcome all our speakers who are coming all the way from India to address all of us. Starting from Mr. Atul Tiwari, actor, scriptwriter, well known for his works in hit films like Mission Kashmir, 3 Idiots. We also welcome Mrs. Savita Singh, former director of Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti. She has done her PhD in Gandhi studies and she is a well-known writer as well. We thank and welcome our third speaker, Mr. Viraj Radharam Yajinik, trustee, Indira Gandhi National Center for Art, famous for his blog, Gandhi in the 21st Century. Give a big round of applause to all of our speakers. Now we will be welcoming world-renowned master instrumentalist of Santoor and Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan, Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma, who will be playing Santoor later today. Pandit ji has composed music for many Hindi hit films, and I am just sharing the only few films: Silsila, Chandni, Lamhe, Dar, to name a few. Give a big round of applause to Pandit ji. Sir, we thank you for your presence from the bottom of our heart, and everybody is eagerly waiting for the Santoor concert. Today we have large presence of corporates. We are delighted that a lot of people from large number of companies have come to attend this event. We welcome you all. Your presence has made this event a truly Republic Day event. We are grateful to see the presence of the officials from Indian Embassy, Indian Consulate and other organizations. Thanks for taking time out for attending this event. Distinguished guests, special invitees, members of media, students of ICI course, CA Rajiv Shah, Chairman, ICI Abu Dhabi, CA Manu Mehra, Chairman, ICI Ras Al Khaimah, CA Pankaj Munda, Chairman, ICI Dubai, CA Suresh Panwar, Vice Chairman, Abu Dhabi, CA Pramod Chand, Vice Chairman, Ras Al Khaimah, Managing Committee members of 3 chapters, past Chairman of Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, and Dubai chapter, members, guests, and spouses of our members and guests. Good afternoon. I welcome each one of you personally as well as on behalf of the managing committee of all the 3 chapters on the occasion of joint meeting of on the topic management lessons from the life of Mahatma Gandhi. An event of this type and magnitude could not be possible without our sponsors who have supported all our initiatives. Time has come to welcome and thank them. We welcome and thank our principal sponsors, Hamaria Free Zone and Safe Zone, NMC Healthcare and UAE Exchange. We welcome and thank our platinum sponsors, Lulu International Group, Commercial Bank of Dubai, Malabar Gold and Diamonds, IFCO Group, the New Group. We thank and welcome our institutional partner, Delhi Private School Group, and we thank and welcome our media partner, Khalis Time. And lastly, but not the least, we welcome our branding partner, Adventure Global. Give a big round of applause to all of our sponsors. I now request Secretary ICA Dubai Chapter C. Anish Mehta to come to the podium and take the event further.
Without taking much time, I would request Chairman of Abu Dhabi Chapter to please come and deliver the welcome address. Mr. Rajiv Shah.
Good afternoon, everyone. The greatness of this man was his simplicity. Let's try and discover the Gandhians. I think we all will remember the sketch which we used to see on the Indian television of Gandhiji's face being drawn with his spectacles. And I think if one lesson we can learn from his life is the simplicity with which he lived his life. So it's a great honor to be standing here and on a subject which is as popular as our Bapu, Mahatma Gandhi. Respected Mrs. Rajshri Birlaji, Mr. Atul Tiwari, Mr. Virat Yajnik, Mrs. Savita Singh, Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma in absentia, we had the pleasure of listening to him. His Excellency Ahmed Khalil Al-Sai, His Excellency Samir Al-Sai, His Excellency Saud Salim Al-Mazrui from Hamria Free Zone. We were just having a discussion on how Hamria Free Zone is now becoming one of the fastest free zones which is growing now. I have my own company based there. So congratulations His Excellency for the wonderful work that you are doing. Happy Republic Day to all of you. I think there's another very important event and which has happened is His Excellency Crown Prince's visit to India on the occasion of India's Republic Day. And the relations between the two countries have become so strong since His Excellency our Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Abu Dhabi and Dubai. And since then there have been so many bilateral visits at the top level that this relationship is only going to strengthen further. And we look forward to contributing to UAE as professionals as well as creating a bilateral relationship which is probably the best in the world for India and for UAE. This is the sixth joint event that Dubai and Abu Dhabi are conducting together. And for the first time, as was mentioned earlier, RAC chapter has also joined in the celebration. And we also, Dubai and Abu Dhabi, as you all may be aware, have been winning the best chapter awards from the Mother Body Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So it's a great pride to be associated with Dubai chapter. I started my Chartered Accountant committee innings in Dubai, and I served Dubai chapter for 4 years before I moved to Abu Dhabi. So probably I may be the only person who wears the hat of Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and it gives a great pleasure to do that. I have to thank Dubai chapter for an exemplary job that they have been doing. I have to compliment them. I think under Nimish's leadership last year and now under Pankaj, some excellent events are being organized by them. And even today's event, I must say, 90% credit goes to Pankaj and his team. We are very fortunate to have our name associated with them. But full marks to Pankaj and his team for pulling off a great event together, and we are very happy to be associated with this. This is my last year as the chairman of Abu Dhabi, and after 11-year long innings that I have played in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, I would step down from my chairmanship in February this year, and our Vice Chairman Suresh Panwal is going to become the chairman of the Abu Dhabi chapter. So I would like to thank each one of you and all the members of the Dubai and Abu Dhabi chapter from the bottom of my heart for the great support they have given to me over the years. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Chairman of Dubai chapter, C.A. Pankaj Mundra, to please deliver the welcome address.
Dear sisters and brothers of UAE and India, it fills my heart with joy unspeakable to rise in response to this warm and cordial response which you all members and speakers have given us for the 60th Republic Day celebration and a tribute to Mahatma Gandhi, the father of nation of India. I thank you all the ICA members, guests from various corporates, on behalf of Managing Committee of ICA for your kind cooperation and love shown on us for this evening. I am overwhelmed with the response for this event, with almost 600 plus members and guests present here on a Saturday afternoon to not only celebrate the 60th Republic Day, but to celebrate, rejoice, and glorify the historic and unforgettable visit of Abu Dhabi Crown Prince His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan to India. I must share and acknowledge the love and trust bestowed by UAE government in India in this historic visit, where both the governments signed comprehensive strategic partnership agreements. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed described the agreement as historic. He said in a speech during the signing ceremony, "We are witnessing a historic moment with the signing of the strategic partnership agreement and host of other agreements. Together, these accords open up new horizons for cooperation and mutual work between our two governments and peoples, and are indeed a breakthrough in the history of our relationship." He added, under the leadership of President His Highness Sheikh Khalifa bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the UAE considered promoting our bilateral relations to a strategic level as a major gain that serves to benefit our two nations. Our Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Ji Modi, praised the UAE-India relations and said, addressing His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed, "Personally, I benefited immensely from your perspective of our partnership. Your Highness, under your leadership, we have been successful in creating new synergies in our ties. We have shaped an ambitious roadmap of engagement to make our comprehensive strategic partnership purposeful and action-oriented. The agreement that was exchanged just now has institutionalized the understanding." Friends, as you know, this was first time in last 67 years where India has seen chief guests from UAE to celebrate Republic Day. In 1950, India invited President Sukarno from Indonesia, and in last 67 years, India has seen chief guests from France 5 times. Friends, I am very confident this brings now a lot of opportunities for all of us professionals in sectors of power, energy, maritime, shipping, road, transport, trading and SMEs. Because in all these areas, the different ministry of UAE and India have signed the respective MOUs. Friends, now I would like to share how and why we planned this event with theme Management Lesson Learned from Life of Mahatma Gandhi. I happened to visit Eternal Gandhi shop of Aditya Birla Group on July 22nd at Mumbai Airport, and was very impressed with the CSR initiative of Aditya Birla Group to keep Gandhism alive. Through that shop, I got in touch with Mr. Bharat Parikh, who is present between us, the president of Eternal Gandhi and Special Projects. I remained in touch with him, and on 2nd October 2016, which is Gandhi Jayanti, where India announced the confirmation of acceptance of the invitation of chief guest on Republic Day, celebration by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. It inspired me to celebrate Republic Day under ICI Dubai chapter banner with Mahatma Gandhi. Friends, if our country, India and UAE gave the importance to 2nd October, my heart and soul also asked me, and chapter should also do something close to 26 January. With help of Mr. Bharat Parikh, we finalized the draft agenda on 5th October, and with 28th January in mind, being Saturday between 26th January and 30th January. Later on, when Chairman Rajiv Shah Abu Dhabi chapter came to know about my plans, and we discussed how we can invite. We have invited so many celebrity speakers for last 5 years for our joint events. Why not Gandhi, who is a global celebrity for a century? In October end, we extended our invitation to His Excellency Sheikh Nahyan bin Mubarak Al Nahyan, who also liked the theme and were kind enough to accept our invitation. But due to change of His Excellency's schedule, his office informed us mid of the January about his unavailability. We thank His Excellency for his continuous support to ICI Dubai chapter. Friends, Hence, we present this joint seminar to you by all the three chapters with the most creative theme and agenda at a time when India-UAE relationship is rising. My special thanks to all the esteemed and knowledgeable, humble and dynamic speakers of this event who were very kind enough to accept our invitation and showed their eagerness to share the wisdom and inspire our committee members of ICA Dubai chapter. I would like to bestow a very special thanks to His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Khalid Al Said, the son of the chairman of the Dubai International Real Estate and the chairman of the Rhoda Hotel and Resorts, and His Excellency Mr. Saud Salim Al Mazrui, Director General, Hamliya Free Zone and Saint John Authority, for accepting our invitation at a short notice and to grace this event with their presence. We welcome in absentia Padam Vibhushan Pandit Shivkumarji Sharma, who will join us later in this evening for musical Santu concert. It is well said in today's Khalid time, music brings experts together in Dubai. Special thanks to Padma Bhushan Ms. Rajeshri Birla, Chairperson of the Aditya Birla Group Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development, who will address us shortly as a keynote speaker. We thank you, Madam, for your special support for this event, guidance and direction. Madam, we are not only proud for your great achievements and dedication for CSR initiatives, but we are also proud that you are a mother of a successful and eminent chartered accountant, Shri Kumar Mangalamji Birla. I also welcome Shri Vasuji Shraf, Chairman, Regal Group, Dubai, who has been awarded Pravasi Bharatiya Samman on 9 January by President of India. Friend, he deserves a thunder round of applause. In fact, I was fortunate to witness the same along with our 30 CA friends in Bangalore when he was being awarded this Pravasi Bharatiya Samman. I thank our speakers, Mr. Atul Tiwari, for organizing special silk shawls from India for our guest of honor. I thank Mr. Virat Yagnik for arranging first Arabic edition of Mahatma Gandhi biography. And I thank Ms. Savita Singh for organizing Satyagraha book of Gandhiji. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, Bapu, father of nation. We all have read and know about him for so many years. But I must share few of his thoughts from his famous and historic Dandi March speech in 1930. Let no one commit wrong in anger. We all have made wrong decisions in angriness in our lives. As it is well said, in sway of emotions, intelligence does not work. In his same speech he mentioned, the history is full of instances of men who rose to leadership by sheer force of self-confidence, bravery and tenacity. Again a great message, and we all can relate with this when we are in problems. This message could be powerful direction to all of us. Gandhiji was a great role model for non-violence and tolerance. We congratulate UAE for introducing Ministry of State for Tolerance last year with a primary mission to promote tolerance and instill its more principle as a fundamental value in UAE community and the globe, and we hope that will be graced by Her Excellency Sheikha Lubna bin Khalid Al Qasmi, Minister of State for Tolerance in the near future event of ICI. I am confident in next 3 hours we all have a lot of takeaways from the eminent speakers from the life of Gandhiji. Before I call upon our secretary, I would like to quickly update. We will be organizing technical seminar on 4th February, Saturday morning on India Union Budget. Along with Times Now, our keynote speaker for this event will be the past president of ICI, Sri Kamlesh Vikamsi. We will be participating in CSR initiative of Dubai Cares Work for Education on 17th Feb, for which details will follow. In end, I want to share a good news. This new term has registered a record of 1870 members, including new members and the renewed members. This record would have not been possible without your help and have been possible because of the help of my committee, subcommittee, Regional Director Prabhajit Singh Baweja, all the past chairmen. This progress will help us to achieve a goal of 2350 members by 30th June. We look forward for continuous leads of new members so that we all in unity contribute to this new rise of Indo-UAE relationship. Before I close, I want you to remind of the most powerful message of Gandhiji. My life is my message. Let's all of us make our life beautiful and successful so that it leaves a message for our children, peers, societies and country. Thank you. Shukran. Jai Bharat, Jai UAE.
Thank you, CA Rajiv Shah and CA Pankaj Munda, for the inspiring words. We will now felicitate Mr. Vasu Shroff, Chairman of Regal Group Holdings, who received the prestigious Pravasi Bharat Samman 2017 award. As we all know, the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, or it's also called Overseas Indian Honor, is an award constituted by the Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs, Government of India, in conjunction with the Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, Non-Resident Indian Day, to honor exceptional and meritorious personalities who have contribution in their chosen field and profession. The award is given by the President of India. Vasu Shroff started during 2012-13. He takes active interest in philanthropic activities. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Mr. Vasu Shroff. I would request His Excellency Khalil Al Sayed, Chairman of Dubai International Real Estate and Chairman of Rhoda Hotels and Resorts, to felicitate Shri Vasuji Shroff and please come on the stage. I will also request Chairman of ICA Dubai chapter, ICA Abu Dhabi chapter and ICA Ras Al Khaimah chapter to be also on the stage, please. There is one more award in the UAE, the Pravasi Bharatiya Samman Award, which is won by the Indian Social Center in Abu Dhabi. And I will request Paddy Acharya to please come on the stage. Mr. Paddy is the auditor of the ISC. An auditor has a lot of role in getting the awards.
ISC is celebrating India Fest, so the president couldn't be here as well as the managing committee. I humbly accept it on behalf of them.
Now I would request Mrs. Rashi Birla, Chairperson of Aditya Birla Center for Community Initiatives and Rural Development, our keynote speaker of the day. She will present a special edition of Mahatma Gandhi biography translated into Arabic language to His Excellency South Salim Al Muzroi, Director Amulia Free Zone and Safe Zone, Sharjah. I will also request His Excellency to come on the stage, please. We are very thankful to His Excellency Khalid Al Sayer and His Excellency South Salim Al Muzrai. We will give a memento as a token of appreciation to both of them. Firstly, to His Excellency Khalid Al Sayer. And now to His Excellency South Salim Al Mazrui.
His Excellency South Salim, Shri Pankaji Mundra, the Fraternity of Chartered Accountants, distinguished guests. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you today in Dubai, a truly dynamic and beautiful city. I must confess that up until now, I have not addressed organizations dedicated entirely to chartered accountants. So, in a manner of speaking, I am now venturing into an uncharted territory. But there is a feeling of comfort as I have been asked to share some of the management lessons that are derivatives of Gandhiji's philosophy, his actions, and above all, his vision. Thanks to Pankaji. I thought it would be appropriate to give you the context of our connect with the Mahatma. Mahatma Gandhi has been and continues to be an icon for all of us in the Birla family. Gandhiji was very close to my grandfather-in-law, Sri Ghanshyam Rajji Birla, whom we affectionately call Pujya Dadaji. Gandhiji looked upon Pujya Dadaji as his confidant, and through him, we in the Birla family shared a symbiotic bond with the Mahatma. The Mahatma's values of trusteeship, of truth, of non-violence, of justice deeply influenced our family's patriarch. And this permeated generation after generation in the Birla family, and we look upon it as a great legacy. The principle of thinking beyond oneself and practicing compassionate capitalism are at the core of Gandhiji's trusteeship concept. We began formally more than 100 years ago long before CSR became a buzzword in the corporate lexicon. Today, we reach out to 7.5 million people across 5,000 villages in India and help lift the burden of poverty from their shoulders through our CSR engagement. Let me share with you that since the topic is heavily oriented towards management, I intuitively felt that discussing Gandhiji with my son, Kumar Mangalam, would help hone the management precepts. We had a long conversation about the Mahatma, and at the end of it, the strongest takeaway was that Gandhiji was a truly transformational leader. While elucidating this aspect, Kumar Mangalam explained it beautifully. That is what he had also said in his address at the ISP convocation in Hyderabad, and I quote, "Transformational leadership transcends leadership traits that we commonly talk about, the ability to set out and inspire, to provide clarity and direction, the power to motivate and stretch people. In essence, transformational leaders bolster a value-driven, uplifting leadership that creates and sustains an ecosystem which maximizes human capacity, organizational capabilities, economic success, and contributions to societal well-being." Unquote. Professor Bernard Bass, in his treatise, The Ethics of Transformational Leadership, voices a similar view, and I quote, "Leaders are truly transformational when they increase awareness of what is right, good, important, and beautiful, when they help to elevate followers' needs for achievement and self-actualization, when they foster in followers high moral maturity, and when they move followers to go beyond themselves in self-interest for the good of their group, organization, or society." Unquote. On all these counts, Gandhiji was an exemplar. Gandhiji had distinctive traits. First of all, Gandhiji was an outstanding leader who dreamt of a bold vision. His dream was backed by solid action. All of us are familiar with what the father of the nation has achieved. Still, I think this is a good time to journey back into the past and recount the days as the setting for management lessons. As we all know, Gandhiji's greatest priority was to hasten the dismemberment of the British Empire and free the nation from their yoke. To attain this vision of Swaraj, Gandhiji plunged headlong into the Indian nationalist movement. He set out a bold path with carefully thought of strategy, actions of defiance, and self-reliance, with Satyagraha and Ahimsa as his major planks. This in itself was extremely novel and innovative. Explaining the concept of Satyagraha, Gandhiji said, and I quote, "His root meaning is holding on to truth, hence truth force. I also call it love force or soul force. In the application of Satyagraha, I discovered in the early stages that pursuit of truth did not admit of violence being inflicted on one's opponent, but that he must be weaned from error by patience and sympathy. For what appears to be truth to the one may appear to be the error to the other. And patience means self-suffering. So the doctrine came to mean vindication of truth, not by the infliction of suffering on the opponent, but on oneself." Gandhiji's rendition of Satyagraha has a spiritual quotient that is most appealing. In today's management parlance, it equals emotional quotient. So the first lesson is articulating a compelling vision of the future. The second is to chalk out a roadmap, strategizing into actual the vision. The third is the emphasis on emotional quotient, which today has gained tremendous currency. To drive this home, let us all revisit the Dandi March, as this has a great learning to offer. On March 12, 1930, Gandhiji, then 60 years of age, along with 78 followers, left the Sabarmati ashram for Dandi. This, as many of you know, is on the coast of Gujarat. The Dandi March, which was a phenomenal event in the struggle for freedom, meant trudging over 240 miles in 24 days. The fistful of salt that he picked up on the banks of the coastal village of Dandi in Navsari and the quiet march of thousands of satyagrahis to Dandi was a very powerful symbol. It went far beyond people's right to make salt. It invigorated an entire people to join the freedom struggle. Their passion for the cause was overwhelming. Along with Gandhiji, more than 80,000 of our people were jailed. Importantly, at a more broader level, the basic objective of the Dandi March was to spark the movement for independence through civil disobedience. This example serves to show symbols have the emotional connect and in the process lead to the fruitioning of the vision. So that is the fourth lesson. Yet another lesson, the fifth one, that can be gleaned from Gandhi's life is his absolutely unconventional approach and his complete humility. How he worked to earn the trust and the commitment of the entire populace. In Gandhiji's words, the plan of civil disobedience has been conceived to neutralize and ultimately entirely to displace violence and enthrone non-violence in its stead, to replace hatred by love, to replace strife by concord. Very noble thoughts. Let me share with you what Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru wrote from the walls of the prison in a letter to his daughter, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the substance being how the Mahatma was a leader with a marked difference, and I quote, "Hundreds of eloquent men had preceded him in the struggle, but this voice was somehow different from the others. It was quiet and low, and yet it could be heard above the shouting of the multitude. It was soft and gentle, and yet there seemed to be steel hidden away somewhere in it. It was courteous and full of appeal, and yet there was something grim and frightening in it. Every word used was full of meaning and seemed to carry a deadly earnestness. Behind the language of peace and friendship, there was power and the quivering shadow of action." Unquote. The main take here is to have resoluteness, the grit and the determination to achieve what you seek to achieve. Coupled with satyagraha and ahimsa, the use of charkha, the end of untouchability and liberation of women, earned him the respect, admiration and affection of the multitudes. This is what every leader endeavors to achieve. Gandhiji epitomized walk the talk principle at its highest. He set a great example. His precepts have a timelessness. His repeated acts of moral courage greatly influenced leaders like Nelson Mandela and Martin Luther King, who followed a similar terrain. Having given you an overview of the management lessons that one induces from Gandhiji's life, let me share with you what the Mahatma has said are the 7 social sins. 1. Politics without principles. 2. Wealth without work. 3. Pleasure without conscience. 4. Knowledge without character. Commerce without morality. Science without humanity. and worship without sacrifice. These 7 sins are unfortunately being recourse to in several parts of the world. This is undeniably regressive. We owe it to ourselves and to our countrymen to ensure that these practices are eliminated. We need to have our voices heard to end these sins. The first prerequisite to put a full stop to these is for leaders and followers alike to move to a 360-degree mind shift. Gandhiji raised our people's hopes to a pinnacle. He helped achieve the dismemberment of the British Empire. He liberated our nation from its yoke. His work was founded on the bedrock of values. He was a man with a strong character. His thoughts and leadership style can never be passé. Gandhi's legacy is even more relevant in today's cultural context. Finally, let me share with you how we at the Aditya Birla Group are endeavoring to keep Gandhiji's value and thoughts alive. 10 years ago, we set up the Eternal Gandhi Multimedia Exhibition at East January Mark in Delhi. Weaving the epic life of the Mahatma in rhythmic, moving cadences, enlivened with photographs, paintings, film footage, video clips, and more, the Eternal Gandhi Multimedia Museum gives you an unusually splendid feel of history. This uniquely innovative, first of its kind digital exhibition on the Mahatma is in fact the brainchild of Kumar Mangalam. It is our way of paying homage to the father of the nation. As perhaps some of you may be aware, this place, the Gandhi Smriti, of which this exhibition is a riveting part, was our erstwhile family house, the Birla House. The 12-bedroom house was built in 1928 by my grandfather-in-law. It was also the house where my husband was born. And later when we were married, I vividly recollect the happy times that we as a family spent over here. It was also home to Gandhiji. Whenever he would be in Delhi, the Mahatma would reside here. Our house has been a witness to several epochal moments. It was from here that Gandhiji parleyed with national and international leaders of repute, holding several clandestine meetings to overthrow the yoke of the Britishers. And another level of, for quite some time, Kumar Mangalam, deeply influenced by the humane values that Gandhiji and Pujya Daruji espoused, felt a compelling need to present these in a contemporary fashion to the youth and children of today, to give them a sense of history, to help them realize at what cost we won our freedom, to give them a feel of our leaders, of our nation in its making. He thought was worthwhile, most importantly, to take the Mahatma's message of Shanti, peace, of Satya, truth, Ahimsa, non-violence, Ekta, the universality of mankind in today's day and age in a grippingly interesting way. To rediscover these truths that the Mahatma lived by, we thought we should take them as voyagers on an energizing and revealing journey that would touch them in a subliminal way and embed his life's message in their psyche. This has been our endeavor. And to do so, we created this technological marvel which reminds everyone of the high noon of India's freedom struggle and the phenomenal role played by the Mahatma. Today, the Eternal Gandhi Multimedia Exhibition is like a pilgrimage center in Delhi. More than 1 million visitors come here to pay a tribute and draw inspiration from the Mahatma's life. Let me conclude by echoing Albert Einstein, the Nobel laureate's words on Gandhiji. He said, generations to come will scarcely believe that such a one as this, in flesh and blood, walked upon this earth. Thank you.
The next session will be by Mrs. Savita Singh. For that, I will request Secretary of Abu Dhabi Chapter, Ashish Bhandari, to please introduce Ms. Savita Singh.
Thank you, C. Anish. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to introduce one of the greatest speakers and follower of our favorite leader, Bapu, Mrs. Savita Singh. Mrs. Savita Singh is a former director of Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti, India. Dr. Singh holds a doctorate degree from the Center of International Politics, Peace and Disarmament, School of International Studies, Jawaharlal Nehru University, Delhi. She served the Gandhi Smriti and Darshan Samiti for 22 years as the director under the chairmanship of Prime Minister of India. Dr. Singh is an eminent Gandhian scholar and is currently honorary director at the Center of Gandhian Studies, Gandhi Institute of Technology and Management, Visakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh. She is the co-founder of the Center for Gandhian and Peace Studies, Indira Gandhi National Open University, Delhi, where she is a senior consultant and an honorary professor for life. Dr. Savita Singh has several publications to her credit. The most significant amongst them is the book entitled Satyagraha, meaning Soul Foods or Truth Foods. It was published by the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting in 2006 to mark the centenary of the birth of Satyagraha on 11th September 1906 in Johannesburg, South Africa. Mahatma Gandhi, the priceless gift to humanity. Albert Einstein has described Satyagraha as a weapon of peace. The book was simultaneously released in the Indian Parliament by the Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh and in New York and was subsequently launched in 7 countries. Dr. Singh is also passionately involved with the revival of several Bunyadi Vidyalaya, which are primary schools founded by Mahatma Gandhi in 1939, when the world was edging towards the Second World War. Mahatma Gandhi returned to Champaran, where he founded the 2 basic schools under the auspices of Nai Talim scheme. With an emphasis on basic skills development, these schools aimed at self-reliance with focus on preparing children for a global, non-violent awakening. Dr. Singh also considers the revival of these 2 basic schools in Gandhi and Champaran, Bihar, amongst her major achievements, where 1,700 poor rural children are being imparted primary education. Though much more work still remains to be done. The year 2007 marks the centenary of Champaran Satyagraha, the first Satyagraha led by Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, our favorite Bapu, on the Indian soil after he returned from South Africa 1915. Dr. Savita Singh is also on the board of a number of prominent educational institutions and government organizations. Dr. Savita has a son who is an investment banker in New York, and she likes to travel to places which are connected to the life of Mahatma Gandhi. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Dr. Singh with a big round of applause.
Namaskar. Our revered Rajeshri Beda ji and the august gathering here. Today is 28th January. In 1947, on this very day, Mahatma Gandhi was sitting, on 1948 on this very day, Mahatma Gandhi was sitting on the lawns of the Birla House, which Rajeshri Behenji just introduced you about. He was talking to Rajkumari Amrit Kaur. And in his conversation he said, Rajkumari ji, I have a feeling, I have a premonition that I may be killed by the bullet of a madman. If such a thing happens, and if you do not see me, go away from this world with smile on my face. Tell the world I am not a Mahatma. It was a sannyasi's words, and 2 days later he passed away in the similar manner with the word of Ram on his lips. Since then there have been so many controversies whether he said Ram or not, did he take the name of the Lord, but even if he did not, does it matter? We are still remembering him and the warmth that he bestowed is inspiring innumerable humanities across the globe. Gandhi's leadership lessons in business management. This is the first time on 7th November 2005, a similar conference was held in Birla House. Then the convener was Srimati Rajeshri Birla ji. And I had the honor of giving a short presentation on this. Since then, Behenji, you'll be happy to know that I have been invited to speak on this subject in so many places. Suddenly people have woken up to Gandhi as a management guru. But does the people say that the credit goes to School of Business Management, Harvard University? And I tell them no, much before that, Rajeshri Birla ji had convened this conference. A conference was held in the grounds of Gandhi Smriti and this was done there. And we heard about it much later. Mahatma Gandhi has perhaps been a subject of more heated debate and come in for major share of admiration and criticism than any other historic personality. The reason is the unorthodox philosophy propounded by Gandhi challenged contemporary trends in political thought and action and baffled those who tried to fit him into the straitjacket of their own ideological definition. He baffled his contemporaries with his shrewd handling of the events during his lifetime. Louis Fisher, the celebrated biographer of Mahatma Gandhi, broached to Jawaharlal Nehru the idea of writing a biography of Gandhi. The latter remarked that to be able to do justice to such a great man, the writer would have to be as great as him. One of Gandhi's renowned contemporaries, poet Rabindranath Tagore, gives a clue to understanding Gandhi. He says, one must try to understand Gandhi as one would understand an artist, not by the theories and fantasies of the creed he may profess, but by that expression in his practice which gave evidence to the uniqueness of his mind. Tagore gave Gandhi the honorific of Mahatma, and the Mahatma returned the compliments by calling him Gurudev. It needs to be remembered that no other teacher in world history but Gandhi had the opportunity to work in countries located in 3 continents, Asia, Africa and Europe. And to Louis Fisher, Gandhi was also a key to the revolutions which dominated the 20th century stage. Lenin, Mussolini, Hitler, Stalin and Mao. But Gandhi alone offered hope for progress without destruction. Indeed, as we look back on the 20th century, we can justly claim that the most dominant figure of the century was Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi had inherited the mystic traditions of Indian culture and had appreciated the spiritual significance of it. It is doubtful if he attempted deliberately to invent any new ideas. In a way, he rediscovered the significance of the traditional concepts and tried their practical application in everyday life to solve the problems of the world as it is. He had the humility to say that I have nothing new to teach the world. Truth and non-violence are as old as the hills. True, Gandhi did not invent truth and non-violence, but he did try to bring humanity back onto the right course, upholding the path of righteousness. And therein lies his eternal significance. Small wonder then, the nature of Gandhi's leadership has become a subject of in-depth study and analysis in several leading universities in India and abroad. His life's message is seen to have answers to many complex issues, even beyond. Now, Gandhi is not just being looked upon as the architect of India's independence, because this independence is anyway it doesn't measure up to the dreams that he had of an independent India. This is not the Swaraj of his dreams. I would like to dwell upon the life and times of Mahatma and give a little introduction of his life. The life and times of Mahatma Gandhi neatly spreads over 3 centuries. Born in the latter half of the 19th century, he develops a system in the 20th century using himself as a laboratory where he experiments with truth. As a pure scientist, finds solutions for the major problems now confronting humanity in the 21st century. As a visionary, he had foreseen these situations coming through the outcome of the follies of humankind, committed throughout the 20th century. In that century of monstrous violence, It was and is our extraordinary good fortune that Gandhi lived. His same voice cautioned humanity to go only this far and not beyond. Slow the pace and ponder carefully before you take the next step. The non-violent struggle before Gandhi and the struggles after Gandhi help us to place him in historical perspective and to understand his continuing significance. Gandhi's concept of creative non-violent, non-cooperation satyagraha is the only original political idea to have come out from Asia, Africa and Latin America in the last 300 years. Violence as a technique has a history of thousands of years. Non-violence as a social philosophy of action is only just learning its first steps. In him, the father of a nation, we see a Mahatma, a great soul in the making, from the very beginning of his public career. We have only to follow the journey of that little boy Monia, as his mother fondly called him. It takes one by surprise to find a highly evolved mind who, with clarity of thought and belief in anyone so young, an 18-year-old boy defies the well-entrenched dogmas and restrictions of the 19th century Kathiawad and heads for England for higher education. In London, he joined the prestigious Vegetarian Society, where in an interview to enter the society, he was asked why do you want to enter this society. And he says, I want to share my thoughts on how the real seat of taste is not the tongue but the mind. A remarkable discovery for a youth of his age of 18. A failed lawyer in India by his own admission. He goes to South Africa in search of livelihood, but comes face to face with his God in that forsaken, dark continent. In South Africa, returned to compliments and leading this young man on to the heights of a Mahatma, a truly emancipated soul. In South Africa, which is variously described as M.K. Gandhi's Tapobhumi, the nursery of the laboratory of his experiments with truth, Gandhi emerges as the most celebrated fighter for social justice and human rights, and on September 11, 1906, lawyer Gandhi creates history by defying the brutal racist regime. He leads a determined mass of nearly 3,000 immigrant Indian and Asiatic people of the colored race who had gathered at the Empire Theatre in Johannesburg to listen to the young lawyer Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who had promised to show the path of redemption to the oppressed of the world and to protect their rights to live with dignity. Later, Gandhi gave a name to this mode of protest and he called it Satyagraha, or standing firm on truth. Satyagraha, further Gandhi, the scientist in Gandhi further tells us that if Satyagraha is followed with sincerity, with Sarvodaya, the welfare of all, it has the capability to usher the Swaraj of my dreams. How did the heroic and solitary experimenter in the dreaded laboratory of South Africa arrive at his radiant discovery of the power of collective non-violence, which evolved in time into the revolutionary weapon of Satyagraha? The technique was not born full-grown. It was developed and refined with each application, first in South Africa and later in India, until in the end it conquered violence and spread around the world. It was the technique that impelled British to leave India. This historic achievement of Mahatma Gandhi seemed almost inconceivable. How could one so spiritual and detached from the material world achieve so much in altering the course of history? Was it the personality of Gandhi that did this, or the force of the ideas that he represented and that he translated into action? The response was astonishing and justified Gandhi's faith in God and man. What happened in this epic struggle, which lasted for 7 years, from September 11, 1906 to 1913, is now a part of a glorious history. It is difficult to make a discovery, but even more difficult to apply it in a most difficult situation. Where did Gandhi get the reckless courage to use Satyagraha in South Africa? 2 decades in South Africa left Gandhi more Indian than before. Indeed, it was in South Africa that he learned Sanskrit, got drawn towards the Gita, felt within a sense of renouncement and detachment, and set on a journey towards Mahatmahood. Gandhi went to South Africa in a stiff collar and a frock coat. To quote him, determined to travel first class and live in a style, I quote, becoming a barrister of the inner temple, but left South Africa determined to revert to Hansman Khadi and the life of voluntary poverty, and travelled back home in second class, or as he says, third class was all booked. It was He was traveling in the first class compartment and he insisted that he has a valid ticket and he has every right to be traveling in the first class, and he was thrown out. It made history. But by the time, in the next 13-14 years, he realized that these are outer surfaces, superficial things. It doesn't really matter in one's life. And gradually he starts shedding, making changes, not only inside himself, but even outwardly. As you see how he is shedding off his three-piece suit, his neckties, and gradually the Mahatma as we know him today. In the crucible of 19th century, when they see the emergence of a man who became the best teacher of all times, where did he learn his lessons from? It's very interesting to know. Certainly not from the teachers of his school in Rajkot, where he had his early education. Certainly not from the teacher who nudges the 7-year-old Gandhi to copy the correct spelling of kettle from the boy sitting next to him. Gandhi's real teachers were his mother Putli Bai, who taught Gandhi to stand firm on truth and the importance of discipline, body and mind. His nurse Rama, who gave the mantra of fearlessness. His friend Oka, who taught him that everyone is equal in the eyes of God. His wife Kasturbai gave him lessons in non-violence, his environment and his home. He has written at length about this little friend of his named Oka. Oka was an untouchable boy, and whenever Gandhi would play with him and come home, his mother would insist that he should take a bath. And a 7-year-old Gandhi used to argue with his mother that when you read Ramayana in the evening, you tell me that in the eyes of Ram, all are equal. If all are equal, then why Oka is treated differently? Even in South Africa, he realized that back home, what are we doing to our untouchables? Do we have any right to talk about equality and justice when we do not render the same to our own brethren? And that is how the Gandhi was evolving. There is another thing, which we must know. Of course, Kasturbai gave him lessons in non-violence, and one his education in the fashionable London, where he acquired the law degree, did not really prepare him to face the challenges of life. He learned the rare lesson from the ticket collector who pushed him to face the challenges of life. The coachman at Durban in South Africa who humiliated him and gave him several punches on his stomach. An illiterate peasant called Rajkumar Shukla in Champaran. And thousands of such people from all over the world, from Rajan Bhai to Henry David Thoreau to Mazzini to John Ruskin to Leo Tolstoy. Gandhi was always ready to learn from whoever is ready was giving him any lessons. And Gandhi acknowledges his debt to them when he says, and I quote, "For my material needs, my village is my world, but for my spiritual needs, the whole world is my village." The spirit and the significance of 11 September 1906 is crucial in understanding the relevance of Gandhi and the leadership of Gandhi, Gandhi as a leader. The world does not revere Mahatma Gandhi because I just said he led India from slavery to freedom and the Swaraj is not of his dreams. What is important is that this young man, he gives a call to the Indian inhabitants, immigrants in South Africa to collect at Johannesburg's Empire Theatre. They all collect to take a resolve that now onwards we are going to face all justice. We will stand up against injustice and cruelty, racial cruelty with non-violence. We are not going to reciprocate in the same way. Ironically, at the World Trade Center in New York on 11 September 2001, it was around the same number of 3,000 innocent people who lost their lives on the altar of violence and terrorism. On 11 September 1906, Mahatma Gandhi tells the gathering there, he says, "For now onwards, we have the powerful weapon of non-violence in our hands, and we need not be fearful about anything." What does George Bush say in his address to the nation after this New York the Twin Center in New York were bombed? He says, "Now onwards, I'm afraid the entire humanity will have to live in perpetual fear." What a tragic way to remind humanity, to give M.K. Gandhi's non-violent weapon of satyagraha a second chance. 9/11 has now entered the lexicon of modern history. There are several 9/11s in the last 300 years. Just to take a few of them, it was 11 September 1609. Henry Hudson had landed on the soil of America and founded the city of New York. As you may, all of you can recall, how the river, a river is named after Hudson. But in between, there are two other very important 9/11s. One is, it was in 1893 on 11 September, the World Parliament of Religion was held in Chicago, which was a unique American endeavor towards founding a multi-faith dialogue. It was also a manifestation of the confidence in the dawn of an American century. 100 years later, this confidence in American century was shattered at the dawn of a new millennium, again on 11 September 2001, when two aeroplanes crashed against the Twin Towers. What went wrong in just about 100 years? Somewhere in the midst of celebrating the rise of a superpower, the very basis for multi-faith dialogue, the underlying message was forgotten. One can take a long-range view in which each one of these 9/11 illuminates a crossroad. Gandhi was utterly confident that the greatest assertion of liberty is to cultivate command over one's own emotions. This frees us from captive both to past hurt and guilt and helps us to forge ahead. This very interesting thing, Joan Baudouin, who's done extensively written about Mahatma Gandhi. She met Mahatma Gandhi at Shodhpur Ashram in Calcutta in 1946. And Gandhi says, "What brings you to see me?" And she says, "I have come here to research on Satyagraha." He was absolutely shocked. How can you do research on Satyagraha? You can only experience it. The search for enlightenment required strict adherence to non-violence. And Gandhi said, "Ahimsa and truth are so intertwined that it is practically impossible to disentangle and separate them." As Joan Baudouin observed, if there is dogma in the Gandhian philosophy, it centers here that the only test of truth is action based on the refusal to do harm. The discovery of Satyagraha had rattled the powers that be in Britain. The British Parliament and the parliamentarians were absolutely surprised at how to face this challenge. They were only used to facing bullets and sending army and policemen, but how to face a non-violent soldier. And what happens is, Winston Churchill sent Joseph Doe, a priest, to go and meet Mahatma Gandhi in South Africa and pick his mind and find out what is going on behind this very clever mind. And when Joseph Doe goes to meet Mahatma Gandhi, and he was also given an advice, don't ever look into the eyes of this man. He is very clever and he has some magic and he might, take you astray. So Joseph Doe goes and meets him and he says, "Tell me, where did you get this idea of Satyagraha?" And Gandhi says, "You take a guess." And obviously the first guess was that it is inspired by Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Holy Quran, Holy Bible, or the Mahabharata. Gandhi says, "None of this." As a child, I used to see my mother sing a prayer which was composed by Shamal Bhatt. And the sum total of the meaning was, in precisely what it meant was, that one day you were very thirsty and you were going somewhere. You knocked at the door, and the person opened the door and you asked for a glass of water and the person said, "No, I'm not going to give you water." After a couple of days, there is a knock on your door. And you open the door and the same person is standing in front of you asking for water. You forget about the hurt. You forget that how you were humiliated. You immediately rush inside and you get a glass of water. Recently, there was talk that India is going to close under the Indus Treaty that water which goes to Pakistan will be stopped. I sent a small letter to the editor in one of the newspapers. I said, "Please don't do this." The entire Indian ethos stands on not to cherish any kind of hatred for anyone. Don't deprive Pakistan their drinking water. This is not good. This is no way of thinking any of us. But how does Satyagraha reach the level of Sarvodaya, welfare for all? Gandhi again has lessons and he tells you that you have to adopt constructive program. He has enlisted 18 such activities that each one of us, every human being has to undertake those 18 programs and take it to the highest level and the last level. Gandhi denounced the divorce between intelligence and labor. As you all know, that even during when Gandhi used to be in India and when this national annual conference of the Indian National Congress used to be held, Gandhi was given only 5 minutes, and the rest of the time Gandhi used to go and clean lavatories. And there's a very interesting anecdote I heard from Acharya J.B. Kiplani. He said in 1916 in Lucknow, what happened was that after 5 minutes Gandhi came out and he found Gurudev strolling around. Suddenly he walked up to Gurudev and Gurudev said, it seems you're looking for something, you're searching for something. And he said, yes, I want jharu and a balti. Till then, nobody had ever asked Gurudev about these lofty items. And obviously Gurudev could not help him, but Gandhi found his jharus and he found his baltis and he cleaned the toilets. To sum up, what difference coming of Gandhi makes? Mahatma Gandhi came on the scene when the transition from power politics to mass politics was taking place. This is also very essential to understand that had Gandhi come in 1885, he would never have succeeded. The people before him, the leadership before the arrival of Gandhi on 9th January 1915 had prepared the ground for him. By then, all other ideologies had exhausted itself. Mahatma Gandhi came on the scene when the transition from power politics to mass politics was taking place. And by then, Gandhi was also known around for 3 things. The first of these is the anti-colonial revolution led by him. The second, the revolution for human dignity. And the third, the revolution for peace. In each of these 3 areas, no scientist, no statesman, no educator has contributed so much as did the humble Indian lawyer. My father used to tell me, my father was in ICS and for almost just 15 days. And what happened was, he happened to be in Allahabad to collect some of the certificates from the Allahabad University. And Tej Bahadur Sabku told Jawaharlal Nehru, the Dayanand has passed his ICS exam and he's here. Jawaharlal Nehru said, oh please, it's a very fortunate time he's here. Ask him to come also take the blessings of Bapu, who is in Anand Bhavan. So my father was taken to meet Mahatma Gandhi in Anand Bhavan, and Gandhi looked at him and he said, "Tum bahut buddhiman ho." Father just stood there. अच्छा कितने बड़े बुद्धिमान हो, एक काम करो तुम्हारे पास कितने पैसे हैं? So father said, I have something like 200 rupees. 200 rupees. Gandhi's eyes were just there. He said, तुम अपने जैसे बुद्धिमान लोगों को लो, लखनऊ चले जाओ, जवाहर एक न्यूज़पेपर शुरू करना चाहते हैं. That was the end of his career in civil services. And Gandhi put him on to altogether a different trajectory, became a journalist and never had no regrets. And my I've collected about 5,000 of his editorials written by him. It starts and ends with Mahatma Gandhi. Whatever he may be writing, it starts with Gandhi. And I asked him once, I said, Babuji, कई बार लगता है कि गांधी को इतने बार पढ़ लिया फिर भी गांधी कुछ पकड़ में नहीं आते. So he said, to understand India today, you will need to know the India of the Gandhian age. Go back to the roots. And everything will be absolutely clear before you. Now, Gandhi's return to India on 9th January is celebrated as Pravasi Divas, and I'm told Virat Bhai is very closely associated. But what are we celebrating? What do we celebrate? There is a very interesting observation that I felt was that when it is rural, Gandhi was born in a city, in a town, and he was bred in a town. Rajkot was a port town, and Gandhi never had any kind of, he was never exposed to rural India. So he was not even aware of any problems that the rural India is facing. Gandhi comes first to face with rural India on the soil of South Africa. He experienced firsthand the exploitation, the dynamics of imperialism. And then he realized what are the factors which had sent all these immigrant laborers to South Africa or Mauritius or Caribbeans or anywhere. And what was the dynamics? Dynamics was this, after India was colonized, these farmers have always since centuries, they have always been a farmer, and in their spare time, they were craftspeople. They used to create something, and that used to supplement their income. And what did the colonial system do? Take away the very sources of their income, their survival, and reduce them to such a state that they had nowhere to go to accept this, become an indentured laborer and go and walk in the fields of the other, leaving their fields behind. In any case, they were not left with any fields. Recently, I was in Mauritius and I realized the people who had gone there five generations back, they must have undergone immense sufferings. But look at the way the third generation and the second and the first and the current one, how they have come up. And it is in Mauritius, they have this memorial dedicated to these indentured laborers who were brought there. It is not called Pravasi, it's called Pravasi. When I went to see this Pravasi Ghat Memorial Museum and Trust, I was asked by the chairman, he said, I'm standing there, why don't you just take this 18 flight of stairs? I didn't know he had some idea behind that. I climbed those 8 flights of 18 steps. When I reached the top, he welcomed me with a gamcha, similar to what he was from. I'm from Eastern UP. I come from a village called Sitapiyara in Eastern UP. And most of these people are from that region. And they speak better Bhojpuri than I do. So we were conversing in Bhojpuri and he offered me a gamcha, welcomed me with a gamcha. And he said, अब आप प्रवासी नहीं रह गई, अब आप अप्रवासी भारतीय हो गई, हमारे बीच की हो गई। अप्रवासी, अब वो वापस नहीं आने वाले हैं, अब वो वहीं सेटल हो गए हैं, खुश हैं जहाँ हैं, और बहुत प्रॉस्पर कर रहे हैं। Why should they come back? और आज when you come back to your own village, you go to your villages, you go and see your farmers, they have been reduced to the same state where Britishers, the colonial system had reduced the peasants there. Now we have to think about what has gone wrong in the last 150 years. It's not just celebration that we celebrated Vigyan Bhavan. When I was the director, I was also associated with the celebration. But what exactly are we celebrating? We are celebrating the success of all the people who went and settled abroad. But why couldn't they make all the people who have been left behind, the families left behind, you do not see them at the same level. Then, here is a very significant lesson for the business management people. There is an open letter written by Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, who was a great intellectual and an extremist leader of his time. Like I just mentioned, that by 1915, the extremists and the moderates had run out of the ideas and there was a vacuum, and as if there was a lull in our national struggle. Aurobindo Ghosh in his letter, which is dated July 1909, he says, don't despair. All great movements wait for their God-sent leader, the willing channel of force, and only when he comes, move forward triumphantly to their fulfillment. The men who have led hitherto have been strong men of high gifts and commanding genius, great enough to be the protagonists of any other movement. But even they were not sufficient to fulfill one which is the chief current of a worldwide revolution. Therefore, the nationalist party, custodians of the future, must wait for the man who is to come. He will be calm in the midst of calamity, hopeful under defeat, sure of eventual emergence and triumph, and always mindful of the responsibility which they owe not only to the Indian posterity but to the world. It is not known whether Mahatma Gandhi had read these lines. What is pertinent is that around the same time in 1909, Mahatma Gandhi had just returned from London once again and he was very disappointed with the British Parliament. They had promised that you call off your Satyagraha in South Africa and we are going to give you some leeway. But it doesn't happen. And when he's talking also in the India House, when he's talking to the young people, they did not agree with Mahatma Gandhi. They said, your path is not going to lead us anywhere. So we will continue with our extremist policies. Another thing which Henry Pollard says is, but Gandhi was ready. He writes he tells another friend, Henry Pollard, he says that I am ready for the moment when the finger of destiny would beckon me to assume the leadership of the Indian national movement. Way back in 1909, Henry Pollard, when he's writing his tributes to Mahatma Gandhi on the 75th anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi, he says that Gandhi had told him long back that men say I am a saint losing himself in politics. The fact is that I am a politician trying my hardest to become a saint. This insights question the entrant belief that Gandhi was against political power. At that critical journey, there was such a scenario when Gandhi emerged. That path began, like I just mentioned, not with the Rowlatt Act or Khilafat movement. It had already started in 1906. Gandhi, for the next 5 years, after his return to India, he remains in the periphery. He's studying the situation, but he is absolutely making sure that people take notice of him. Wherever he goes, he is making statements, issuing to the press, he's talking to the people, and he's taken note of. And people are also understanding what kind of leadership Gandhi is going to take. Another lesson which Gandhi gives is, Gandhi was fully convinced of both. The ethical legitimacy and practicality of Swaraj not being possible without ensuring unity amongst Hindus and Muslims. And these are the agenda that he has written. Then Gandhi sets up his ashram. He wanted a general headquarter for himself and training his lieutenants. Gandhi adopts ashram also in due course of time became, Gandhi knew that there has to be a visible symbol. And the visible symbol is ashram where he can train his people. And charkha is taken as a symbol of that movement. Through the freedom movement, Gandhi set an agenda of revolution in India and subsequently for the entire humankind. Through the constructive program, he presented a comprehensive vision of the kind of society he had in mind. Through the constructive program, Gandhi was preparing the masses for the post-independence era. Much of the points Srimati Rajashri Billaji has already touched upon, so I need not repeat them. But there are some things which I would like to say. That Gandhi was learning from others. Srimati Billaji just made a mention of the deadly 7 sins. How Gandhi was learning from it. Gandhi was editing this journal. First it was Young India and then Harijan. A reader wrote a letter to Mahatma Gandhi. Everybody must be going through various other sources. I had heard this straight from Dr. Jean Sharp. Dr. Jean Sharp was a 23-year-old young man. In 1949, he sat down for 3 years and he studied all the movements led by Mahatma Gandhi in India. The first was Champaran Satyagraha, the second is better known as Salt Satyagraha, the third was the Quit India movement. And finally he comes to the conclusion that Gandhi is going to be hailed as the greatest ever prophet of non-violence on this earth because he wields the weapon of moral power. And Albert Einstein, at that time, didn't even know Jean Sharp, but when Jean Sharp approached him to write the foreword, he wrote the foreword. And this is what I got from Jean Sharp, and he told me that, do you know, I said, I've heard from my father also that Mahatma is written by D.G. Tendulkar, it is in 8 volumes. And this Mahatma was when Jawaharlal Nehru went to meet Albert Einstein. He had taken these 8 volumes as a gift to Albert Einstein. When Albert Einstein read all the 8 volumes, all he had to say was, generations to come will scarce believe that such a one as this ever walked on this earth in flesh and blood. It's a remarkable book. I would really like, if you have a library, get it. It's a Government of India publication. So these are very important. And Albert Einstein always said that the intellectuals and the people who are really actively involved in peace and they want the prosperity of humanity must spread the word of Mahatma Gandhi. And he describes Mahatma Gandhi's Satyagraha as a weapon of peace. Gandhi's Connect with the Common People. There's a very beautiful book by Dennis Tarleton. He's written in that, he mentions about an incident when he was searching for the material, he met an old man who had been a 25-year-old young man working in a government office in Lucknow. And that time what happened was that one day, that man was sitting in the office during lunchtime, an Englishman walked into the office and threw up his hands in exasperation, saying, "Oh my God, is there no one I can talk to?" Suddenly this man who was sitting there, who was to do a menial job in that office, he said, "I am a nobody for him. My presence is not even recognized." 3 days later, this man resigned his job. And at that time, Salt Satyagraha was on. He meets Mahatma Gandhi at Navsari. and he tries to keep pace with Gandhi. Used to walk very fast. Somehow he managed to come in pace with Mahatma Gandhi. Came and next to him. Mahatma Gandhi put his arms on his shoulders and whispered something in his ear. Suddenly, the entire global press was pouncing on this old man, and they wanted to know what Gandhi was whispering in his ears. And suddenly, this old man, a poor man, gets acknowledged by the whole world. That is the power of Gandhi, and that is the power of non-violence. And Gandhi was one person who would say with so much clarity and surety, I know my millions. I can always just get connected with it. The constructive program played a very beautiful role during the national movement. Mahatma Gandhi, after Chauri Chaura, 1922, Mahatma Gandhi was one person, one leader, who would place the rules of the game before the people. It will be on your table. This. If you don't abide by this, I have all the right to call off my movement at any time I wish to. And that's exactly what he did in 1922. There was violence and Gandhi said, I cannot carry on with it. And the entire other leadership was so angry with Gandhi and they felt frustrated because Gandhi had given the call of Swaraj in 1 year. Another thing is, Gandhi believed the visible symbols. If you may recall in 1921, uske pehle, all the great minds had been writing about the flight of capital from India. Dada Bhai Nauroji and others and R.P. Dutt and many other people had been writing. But it was not registering, it was not entering the minds of the illiterate mass of Indians. What does Gandhi do when he gives the first call for non-cooperation? He places a huge charkha on top of a bullock cart. And the Sohan Lal really comes up with his song, the immortal song, Charkha chala chala ke lenge swaraj lenge. And all the second stanza says, 75 करोड़ रुपया विदेश जा रहा है, उसको बचा बचा के लेंगे स्वराज लेंगे. And suddenly the entire village, all the villages of India, were singing चरखा चला चला के लेंगे स्वराज लेंगे. This is a quality for leadership. You connect what is at that moment is required to come up with that, come up, throw up the ideas and rejuvenate the mind, which is sleeping almost. क्या क्या बताएं, बहुत कुछ बताने को है. अंत में गांधी किसी भी चीज के लिए आपको डाउट में नहीं रखते. उन्होंने एक बहुत सुंदर चीज आपको दिया है. Whenever you are in doubt, he's giving you a jantar, a talisman. Whenever you are in doubt, ask yourself the step that you propose to take, is it going to usher the Swaraj of the last man, woman and child? If your conscience says no, then step back and think afresh. What could be better than this? And Anatole Francis, when he was paying his tributes to Mahatma Gandhi, he says that Gandhi is a moment in the conscience of mankind. And Gandhi's entire leadership, theories, he doesn't believe in theories. He comes up with, many people have seen why the young people get absolutely dejected by presentations. They say, we don't want to know theories. We already get these theories in a classroom. We want to know what did this man do, how did he do, and what was the outcome of it. In my room, in Gandhi Darshan, I had my chair always faced towards the Samadhi, Radha Samadhi. Irina Bokova, the UNESCO DG, she had come to visit Gandhi Smith. We were planning a project. She said, there must be something about your sitting facing this. I said, yes, there is something. I want to convey something. The 2 days after India had won independence, in an interview, Gandhi has said, so long as my faith burns bright, even if I am alone, I'll be alive in my grave. And what is more, speaking to you. So Gandhi is speaking. Had Gandhi not been speaking, we would not have gathered here. And that was one magical life. My life is my message. And this is a message which Gandhi gives almost at the end of his life. And before that, it is Buddha. What does Buddha say? Buddha says, Apo Deepo Bhav. But Gandhi says, if you want to learn from me, you can learn from me. I have no message to give if I have not been able to give you through the kind of life that I have led. And thank you so much.
इस कॉलेज में बलात्कार पे बलात्कार
चमत्कार किया है।
उम्मीद है आगे भी करते रहेंगे। मंत्री जी नमस्कार। आपने इस संस्थान को वो चीज दी जिसकी हमें सख्त जरूरत थी। आपने अपना स्तन इस बलात्कारी पुरुष के हाथ में दिया।
I want all minorities to have an honorable place in the Union of India. I want to have full opportunity for self-realization and self-fulfillment. I want this synthesis of culture, fully maintaining the principles of equality, liberty, and fraternity.
What will you do with this spinning wheel, Mr. Gandhi?
This is my secret weapon to drive the English rulers away so that we will have the power to make our own constitution.
मैं तुम्हारे तरीकों से सहमत नहीं हूँ इस बार। फिर भी अगर अपने तरीके से तुम भारत को स्वतंत्रता दिला सके तो देखना सबसे पहले तुम्हारी पीठ थपथपाने में ही आऊंगा।
फिर मुझे आशीर्वाद कि मुझे अपने मार्ग पर सावधान है।
आज मैं तुम्हें एक तावीज, एक टोटका दूंगा जो शायद तुम्हें सही संविधान बनाने में मदद करे।
आप और तावीज? बाबू, मुझे लगता था आप तंत्र मंत्र यंत्र में विश्वास नहीं रखते।
पर इस मंत्र पे पक्का विश्वास करना। जब कभी अपने आप को शंका में घिरा पाओ तो इस परीक्षा को अपनाना। सबसे दीनहीन, गरीब, कमजोर इंसान जिसे तुमने देखा हो उसका चेहरा याद करना और स्वयं से पूछना, जो मैं करने जा रहा हूं क्या इससे उसका भला होगा? इस कदम से क्या उसे कुछ मिलेगा या नहीं? इससे क्या वो अपने भाग्य और जीवन को सुधार पाएगा या नहीं? या यूं कहो, ऐसे करोड़ों को स्वराज मिलेगा या नहीं जो तन और मन की भूख से तड़प रहे हैं, जिनके पेट भी खाली है और हृदय भी। फिर देखना तुम्हारी सारी शंकाएं छूमंतर हो जाएंगी।
given by the Mahatma Gandhi to a delegation of the members of our Constituent Assembly on the eve of the first session that they undertook on the 9th of December 1946. Honorable Rashri Birlaji, my co-speakers here, and above all and most of all, my fellow Indians, all of you who have come here to listen to us today. I thought this talisman about which Dr. Santa Singh ji also talked at the end of my lecture will be a good point for me to begin my talk with you today. Especially when we have gathered here in the 70th year of India's independence to celebrate the 67th day we gave ourselves a constitution. The significance of this Saturday has become even more important because just the day after, on the 30th of January, it will also be Mahatma Gandhi's 69th martyrdom day or the Derwan Day. Friends, I find it very interesting that an Institute of Chartered Accountants have initiated this endeavor to remember and pay their homage to a man who came from the community of Modh Vaniks or Baniyas, who were very adept at keeping accounts, as well as known for their creative accounting, if I may say so, without intending to hurt anybody's feeling here. But as far as this particular Modh Baniya, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi is concerned, he breaks away from all the other accountants because he kept such factual, truthful, almost brutal accounts of his own life and made them public as a mere mortal cannot dare to. Then again he came from a family who were managers extraordinaire of the affairs of several princely states without having any management degree in those days, of course. Mohandas' father, Karamchand Uttamchand Gandhi, was what we may call today a CEO who managed the affairs of Porbandar as the Prime Minister, as well as of Rajkot and Wankaner as their Diwan. He also had to iron out the differences between the 100 or so Kathiawadi states as the Raj Pramukh of those states. Kaba Gandhi was known and respected all over Kathiawadi for his skills in managing men, money and contradictions, as well as for his integrity and his steadfast adherence to his principles. We have heard enough about what happened with him at both at Porbandar and at Rajkot. But let me tell you a little story about Kaba Gandhi's time at little known state of Wankaner. Those of you who know Bombay, or Mumbai today, as we call it, must remember the American consulate at the Breach Candy called the Lincoln House. That building, friends, was built as the Bombay residence of the rulers of Wankaner till they traded it off with the Americans. When Karamchand Gandhi, that's Babu's father, joined the state of Wankaner with a verbal contract for 5 years, it was agreed that if, for whatever reason, the king from his side will break the deal, the king will have to pay Karamchand Gandhi the sum of 40,000 rupees or so which was agreed upon. His tenure started, and soon Karamchand Gandhi found that the king was making use of the state funds beyond his stipulated privy purses fixed by the British resident. He tried to stop him, and the king just simply brushed him aside. But when the king tried to siphon the funds a third time, a huge confrontation ensued between the manager accountant and the owner of the company or state, whatever you may call it. The Iran king now summarily dismissed his divan and sent about 10,000 rupees to him for 1 year and a few months that he had spent at Vankane. But Karamchand Gandhi refused to take this part payment and insisted that either he will take the full promised sum, as was there in the formal contract between them, or nothing at all. Even the mediation by the ruler of Rajput could not placate the senior Gandhi, and he stuck to his principles, which were much more valuable to him than any money that would have come to him. In those days, remember, 10,000 rupees is a big sum. We are talking about the 19th century. But he was not ready to take this part sum because it would have come at the cost of a compromise. Friends, I find this story to be very touching. Tale of Satyagraha, a word later coined, practiced, and made famous by his son, Mohandas. But the son Mohandas was to become a manager of people, principles, passions, and paradoxes, not just at the level of a princely state or a country, but at a global and civilizational level. Friends, I am no historian. I am a storyteller by profession and an ardent fan of Mahatma. And whatever little about Mahatma I have picked up while working on several histories and biopics and museums that I have made in the different media of cinema and theatre and the museums, I try and share some of that with you. In any case, as Savitaji has said time and again, that Mahatma himself used to say that my life is my message. He was not like so many of the other Bapus and Babas and Mahatmajis and Peers and Swamijis of today who preach renunciation to you and me and then go and keep buying lands and making palatial ashrams for themselves, full of kitsch, crime, and countless statues of black or pink money. Mahatma Gandhi was only a politician trying to be a saint, as he described himself, but a paramount manager of people's principles, passions, and paradoxes. And you'll agree with me that a good master manager has to be all that and more. Like his father, Karamchand Gandhi, for Mohandas too, his principles were most precious for him. In the first major demonstration of this came in India, in his early days in Indian politics in 1921 itself, when during the non-cooperation or Asahयोग Andolan, the first major mass movement, and as Savitaji just said that the difference was that he was the first mass leader amongst these so-called constitutionalists who were operating before him. In this first major mass movement in India, when violence suddenly broke out on the 5th February 1922 in a place called Chauri Chaura in Gorakhpur district, Mahatma immediately took the movement back. Though he was on the verge of a victory, this recall of a successful product because of a tiny fault in this big machine called India was opposed even by his ardent fans and followers like young Jawahar and his experienced father, Mohit. But Mahatma did not hesitate even for a moment in recalling that movement. Maybe the managers at Volkswagen in Germany had not heard of a thing called timely responsible recall. Even if a tiny part of a big machine did not behave the way it was promised that it will. But this recall also taught an important lesson to Gandhi, the manager. Like Savitaji again was talking about, now he knew that he must train his team and men before pushing them into the laboratory or the factory of Satyagraha. After 1922, till the time of Salt Satyagraha in 1930, the Dani March, he stayed put in his ashram at Sabarmati and basically training a team of 80 or so Ahimsak, non-violent Satyagrahis who were taught not even to lift a hand to protect their heads. Forget about raising a hand to hit the opponent or the enemy. Gandhiji was so sure of his team and the coming brutality that he forbade women to join this particular movement. Despite his belief in greater moral strength of women, about which Dr. Savita Singh has talked very poignantly in the book, Satyagraha. Actually, Mahatma's trick was to convince the opponent and others and win people by enticing the extreme response and then dealing with that response by being steadfast on his principles of non-violence. The pinch of salt that many like Motilal Nehru believe was too small a thing to do anything to the British, the might of the British Empire, actually shook their foundations like never before. And by the time Gandhiji reached Dandi, he had turned into an international star, one of the most filmed, photographed and talked about man in the whole world those days. And then what happened in Dharasana after Bapu's arrest at Dandi was a demonstration of how Gandhi, the man manager, had trained his team. American journalist Webb Miller, who was present at Dharasana, at the salt factory of Dharasana, where people were going one by one to lift this pinch of salt. He witnessed this unheard brutality and bravery at the same time and filed his report, and I quote, "Not one of the marchers even raised an arm to fend off the blows. They went down like ninepins. From where I stood, I heard the sickening whacks of the clubs on the unprotected skulls. The waiting crowd of watchers groaned and sucked their breaths in sympathetic pain at every blow." Unquote. That was a demonstration of how Gandhi, the manager of people, knew the importance of physical, mental, and moral training of his men. And mind you, this team of Mahatma was not working for any monetary gain or any tangible rewards, but for an idea called independent India. An India independent not only of the colonial rule, but India free from prejudices, dogmas, age-old lethargy, and economic dependence. And that's why Gandhi, the human resources manager, started work on his new agenda of Navnirman the moment he shifted to his new ashram, Sevagram in Patha. A good manager, friends, you will agree, has to be a good marketing man and a communicator as well. In this department too, Gandhi has no peers. The way he found and used the weapon of charkha to propagate and popularize the concept of Swadeshi and Khadi and make these things a household name and a lifestyle in itself is an example of his skills as a manager of people and principles in one stroke. And this is because his was a management mixed with activism. Mind you, it was no cakewalk for him convincing people to start wearing khadi. It was laughed at. Babu's own wife, Kasturba, at first refused to wearing khadi saris. And the reasons were the khadi saris those days weighed about 4 times the weight of a normal cotton sari. And to get the correct breadth of the sari, 2 pieces of khadi had to be stitched together from the middle. अब ये ऐसी फटी हुई पीसेस हुई साड़ी तो कोई हिंदुस्तानी औरत पहनती नहीं है आसानी से, और कस्तूरबा ने भी मना कर दिया पहनने से। इतनी भारी और बीच से कटी हुई हम नहीं पहनेंगे, यह अशुभ है। But Babu convinced not only his own wife but the other women of the ashram by asking them a counter-pointed question. He said, "Oh, since when the carrying weights has become a problem for the Indian women who carry their baby in wombs for 9 months, and then after the birth, a growing baby on themselves for years. If that is the case, then I wonder what will happen to the child carrying capacity of the women in the coming ages." The simple piece of direct communication had a direct and desired effect. He was also a master copywriter. And, of course, of Jawaharlal Nehru. Sardar Patel was almost 70 at that time, and Jawaharlal Nehru was just 57. And all this despite the fact that Patel had mustered 12 votes out of the total 15 in the Warcom or the Working Congress Committee, and Nehru had got none. Whether this decision of Gandhi was correct or not can be gauged, friends, by looking at the example of Pakistan, a nation born on the same day with India, which slid into the tumultuous turmoil soon after the death of its founder because he had no clear succession plan. And my dear friends, I am no apologist for Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. I love Sardar Patel and have been instrumental in creating a huge museum to Sardar Patel recently, and you saw some pictures here. Friends, but we are not discussing Sardar here, we are discussing the managerial lessons from Gandhi. Another value that a great manager of people, principles, passions, and paradoxes has to possess is the ability to shield his juniors. But oftentimes a manager has to learn to manage the paradoxes as well. A great example of managing paradoxes was seen in his defense of Sardar Bhagat Singh, when Mahatma Gandhi had to defend Sardar Bhagat Singh, whose crime in his eyes was unpardonable, undefendable. He agreed with Lord Irwin that by no means Bhagat Singh's violent act of murder, even if of a cruel, sadistic policeman accused of killing Lala Lajpat Rai, could be justified. Yet he kept arguing with Irwin, letter after letter after letter, to let go of hanging. Because for Gandhi, a death sentence was as violent an act and as erroneous a crime as the original wrong committed. As far as managing passions are concerned, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi learned it the hard way, both in his personal, professional and political life. He has candidly talked about his unmanageable carnal desires and passions. He could never forgive himself for the fact that when his father was dying, Mohan lay in the bed with his young wife in the next room. But starting from physical, natural desires and passions, Mohandas Gandhi kept on conquering the passions of his own and of others when it mattered the most. How he won over the men who were too eager and ready to kill him, time and again, both in India and South Africa, has many examples. Gandhi's friend Henry Pollock's wife, Mrs. Millie Pollock, has recounted with horror that how when she saw Barrister Mohandas leaving her on the street alone, in a dark street, and crossing the street over to go and hello to the same white man who minutes earlier was heckling him in a meeting and was ready to pounce on him violently. And when she saw that after a little conversation that man gave something to Mahatma Gandhi, he was not called the Mahatma Gandhi then, to Mr. Gandhi or to Barrister Gandhi, she was totally confused. Only when Gandhiji walked back to her, this frightened lady, her suspense got over, and Gandhiji handed her the knife which that man had given him, and told him, oh, this is the knife that man was carrying to kill me, and he's given it back to me. Forget the personal incidents, friends. Even when it came to violent packs of people, how he could get into the vicious violent crowds during the riots and assuage the feelings of the murderous mobs in Bihar and Bengal is also well recorded. But what he did in Bengal on the eve of the independence is no parallel. On Muhammad Ali Jinnah's call of direct action day, the city of Calcutta saw unprecedented killings of 30,000 people from the sunrise to the sunset on the 16th of August, 46. It was feared that the same man now in charge of the whole East Pakistan would not leave any Hindu alive in the East Pakistan. So something similar was already happening in West Punjab. But Mahatma Gandhi went and made contact with this angel of carnage and told him that he himself will personally sit in Calcutta and see that no Muslim word heard there if Sohrawardi too promised to do the same for Hindus in East Bengal. People tried to dissuade Gandhiji to doing this Faustian deal with the devil. But Gandhiji went ahead, and we know now that the number of killings in Bengal during that tumultuous time was much lower than what happened in Punjab. How Gandhiji managed the passions and paradoxes is no match in the human history. A fortnight after this, the Independence Day, when Gandhiji saw that Bengal was safe and that he was no longer needed in Calcutta, he decided to prefer other hot spots in Punjab and Kashmir. The day he was leaving Hyderabad Manzil in Calcutta, 1st of September 1947, a little farewell was organized. And a group of girls came up with a diya to
to do arti to Bapu, who was departing from there. And you know what Bapu did? Bapu stopped the girl and with his own hands extinguished the diya and said, "This oil is precious, beta. People need it. Don't waste it on pujas and rituals." This is an illustration of one more facet of Gandhiji's managerial skills. The careful, mindful use of resources, especially the natural resources. Much before the words like reduce, recover, reuse, recycle, etc. had become fashionable. Next to his Sabarmati ashram in Ahmedabad, he had a little laboratory called Safai Ashram. This was to design systems to deal with human excreta without burdening men and women of a particular caste and community, to keep our homes and mohallas clean, and then calling them most unclean, shitty scum of the earth, and thus branding them untouchable or achut. The word Safai for Bapu was not just about the cleanliness or the Swachhata Abhiyan as we know it today. For this exemplary manager of resources, the word Sa-Fa-I was an acronym for Sa, Sabhi Cheezon Ka, Fa, Faydemand, I, Istemal. Safai, Sabhi Cheezon Ka, Faydemand, Istemal. Which means the use and reuse of all the rejected refuse. Today we talk about these things. He was talking about it in 1920. In his Safai Ashram, he even conducted experiments and designed many kinds of toilet seats. Those of you who go to Ahmedabad, please go and see. And human waste management systems so that one, the community of scavengers was spared the exploitation and excommunication that they had been subjected for centuries. And two, to devise such a method that our shit could be put to some good use. After all, now we increasingly know that the so-called clean system that we adopted and which is prevalent today of flushing our excreta down, हमारी आँख से हट गया तो हट गया, आँख उठ तो पहाड़ उठ जाएगी, पहाड़ में जाए, हमसे क्या मतलब है? हमने तो चेन खींच दी, अपना काम कर दिया, हम बहुत साफ हैं. But now we know that this flushing down system is a big reason for the poisoning of our water bodies and land masses with all the residual chemicals that go into that water with our shit and piss. You may find this statement of mine preposterous, but believe you me that there is a lot of research proving the fact. And Gandhi, the manager of environment, had seen it coming a century ago. If you don't believe me, do visit Safai Ashram and Safai Vidyalaya in your next visit to Ahmedabad, and you may like their famous toilet cafe and the toilet garden. Today, when the hallmark of a good manager is to be conscious in his balance sheet about the triple bottom lines of profit, social responsibility, and environmental costs. Gandhi, the activist manager, was first amongst his equals. For him, no profit, political or otherwise, was big enough if it did not take care of the last man of the society and of the environment. Perhaps that's why, when one of the greatest innovators and business managers of our times, Steve Jobs, was beginning a novel product and a revolutionary product line called Apple. His first ad featured Mahatma Gandhi, along with Emilia Earhart, Alfred Hitchcock, Pablo Picasso, and Thomas Alva Edison. And the copy said, "Here is to the crazy ones, misfits, rebels, troublemakers, the round peg in square holes who changed the world and pushed the human race forward." Gandhi, the innovator of non-violent satyagraha. Thank you. Gandhi, the innovator of non-violent satyagraha and a manager of principles, peoples, passions, and paradoxes, was all that and much more. And that's why he could change the world and push the human race a little forward, like every immortal leader manager does. Mahatma Gandhi, the ideator, the idealist, the ideologue, the optimist, and the pragmatist manager par excellence, actually epitomized the tagline of Steve Jobs' company, "Think different." And that's why no matter how many people from the Bhagwa right to the Lal left to the Safed Posh center of the political spectrum of our country have tried to kill Gandhi for the last 69 years. Since his death, the Mahatma lives on and on and on. Even in this new century, in new ideas, inspirations, innovative people who want to push the human race forward in their own ways. If a Viradjami who will listen to you today is connecting him to the kids and young ones in this century, then a Srimati Rashtriji Birla has redefined and represented the eternal Gandhi and his principles in a message to the whole world. And you guys from the Dubai, Abu Dhabi and Ras Al Khaimah chapters of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India are discussing it in Emirates this afternoon. And I can only be grateful to Pankaj Mudra, who has given me this opportunity to come here and share my thoughts with you all, and to Bharat Bhai Parekh, who introduced me to Mudra Sahab. Friends, Bhagat Singh, a great fan of Gandhi, who was totally opposed to him as far as ideology and stratagem were concerned, on the last day of his life, wrote a letter to his younger brother Kuntal, where he said something about himself, which actually applies as much and even more to the Mahatma Gandhi. Bhagat Singh wrote in that letter to his 13-year-old brother Kuntal Singh, हवाओं में रहेगी मेरे ख्याल की बिजली, हवाओं में रहेगी मेरे ख्याल की बिजली, ये मुश्त खाक फानी है, रहे न रहे. The lightening of my thought will keep brightening the sky, that's a must. The lightening of my thought will keep brightening the sky, that's a must. My mortal body made of dust, though, will go back unto dust. That's the eternal legacy of the man, the manager, the Mahatma. Thank you.